Welcome. My name is Dr. Eric Landrum from the Department of Psychology at Boise State University. You're watching a brief Jing video on APA format for Microsoft Word using track changes. This is an amazingly important feature included in Microsoft Word. Hopefully you're using it, your professor is using it to help give you feedback on your writing. I just want to give you a really brief introduction to how it works, and hopefully you'll be able to take advantage of this process. So here's a document that I've marked up from a student in a prior semester, and there's a couple of different features here. One are the comments that you'll see along the side here. You'll want to read those comments in your file and delete them before you actually go to print your final copy of the paper. Secondly, there are some changes that I've suggested directly in the paper itself, which you can highlight and then click on accept or reject change. What's great about that is that it shows you what you might need to do differently, which is hopefully a good learning experience, but also by clicking on it, it saves you time and it makes the change for you. Of course, you can reject the change, and I'll show you how to make that decision as well. By the way, when you print your paper, you don't want it to print like that, and so you'll want to take care of all the changes in the document, and all of this stuff will go away. These vertical lines over here that I'm pointing out are really important because it'll show you the lines in this document where I've made some specific changes. And there's a couple of versions right here. We'll come and look at those in a moment. One last thing, if you wanted to get a peek at what this looks like on the paper, you could come up here. We're in the review tab, by the way. Track changes is activated. You could add new comments here if you wanted to. But I'm looking at final showing markup, but we just want to look at the final, and that's how it'll actually look on the printed page once you've taken care of all the changes that we're about to make. And so I'm going to go back to final showing markup. And so maybe you read the comments and avoid starting a sentence with a number. By the way, if you hover over the comment, it'll show you the name of the person, the date, and the time the comment was made, which sometimes could be kind of helpful. And so I might change this to, and I'm going to turn off track changes. Rather than 60.6, because we don't really want to start a sentence with a number, I might say over 60% and just kind of leave it like that and make that change. And then what I'm going to want to do is come over here and delete this comment. And so I'm just going to hover over it. I'm going to right click, and then I've got the option here, delete the comment. Yes, I want to delete the comment. And so when you're using track changes, before you do your final print, you're going to want to come through and delete all the comments. Make sure that you're paying attention to what they said. I'm not going to do that because I'm racing through this for you. This was awkward, and so you want to go back and make that change before you delete the comment. And once I delete this last comment, the page is going to go back to the final view, which is kind of nice. And so now I've got the kind of the final view, but there's still a couple of things that I've suggested for changes. You can tell that by looking at these horizontal lines out here in the left margin. And so I've suggested here to use the word moreover, and I've typed it in for this student as opposed to the word furthermore. Now, if you like that suggestion, you just come up to it with your cursor and your mouse, you hover over it, and you right click again, and look what happens. You can either accept the change or reject it. And maybe you still like the word furthermore, so I'm going to reject this change and stick with my furthermore. Oh, I've got to undo that too. And so I'm going to reject that change as well. And now the red is gone, the highlighting, the line is here is gone. And I've got one more change to make in my paper. And so I have seen, no, observed is probably a better choice. And so I'm going to accept that change to delete the word seen. And I'm going to accept, I'm right clicking again, the change for observed. And now I'm ready to print. Let's say that you are doing this for someone and you wanted to make comments for them. You could also use the same features. You highlight track changes, and maybe you want to come down here and start this sentence with over 80%. So I could do that. Over 80% of the participants, and then that'll give a clue to the person who's looking at this file. And perhaps you wanted to say, nice job. And so you could come in and do a comment here, and you could say, nice job. And you could leave the person a comment. Now, before they go to print that, they'll want to delete that. So let's do that really quickly. And so I'm going to delete the comment here, and then I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to accept these changes. So I'm going to accept the change here, and I'm going to accept the change here. And that's how you use track changes in Microsoft Word. Of course, you'll want to save. And that'll do it for me on using track changes in Microsoft Word to improve your APA formatting and your writing.